Hi there, this is Solitary Ronin from Solitary Ronin Films, and welcome to another random review. Today's random review comes from 2023. I know it's ridiculous, I'm going against brand, but it's the latest Deaf Crocodile release, and it's in the Moscow slums. This is spine number 26 for Deaf Crocodile, and it's another Karen Shakhnazarov film by Deaf Crocodile. So this is the third. Shakhnazarov, he did The Assassin of the Tsar, which is spine number 9 with Malcolm McDowell, about a man who thinks he assassinated both Russian Tsars. And also Zerograd, which is spine number 6 in the Deaf Crocodile range, which is basically a nice satire as a man gets trapped in this small town, which features a museum of artefacts that couldn't have really happened, and it's really a metaphor for how the state pretty much changes facts to suit themselves. So again, this is the hardbox deluxe edition. There is a standard edition which just has the Amory case. So even though this is a film from 2023, I know, I can't believe it. It is set in 1902 in Kitovka, which is essentially the sort of drum chapel, the White Chapel of Moscow. And this is a lovely little film. It's fascinating. So as The Assassin of the Tsar is obviously based on some kind of fact, in the Moscow slums, it's seriously influenced by Arthur Conan Doyle's The Sign of Four, and Sherlock Holmes. So it's kind of a Sherlock Holmes film without Sherlock Holmes, because the two main characters are based on real people. So you have Stanislavski, the famous Russian theatre director and inventor of method acting, and a character called Gelirovsky, who was a journalist at the time. So this is set in 1902. 1904 was the beginning of the Russian Japan War, which Russia actually lost, and then the kind of distrust or the lack of confidence in the Tsar would kind of begin 1905, 1906. So this is about Stanislavski, the theatre director, who is struggling with how to portray a character in Gorky's Lower Depths. So again, this is set in 1902. In 1920, this area was actually changed to Maxim Gorky Park after Gorky. So he, through his agent or his manager, gets in touch with this journalist, Gelirovsky, who takes him on almost a poverty safari of this area, where they get involved in the murder of this character called the Raja by a poisoned dart. So it's certainly takes elements of the Sherlock Holmes story, but the fact that Holmes and Watson are a theatre director, an actor and a journalist, and they both, it's fascinating because they both kind of alternate between being Holmes and being Watson. well, to the audience, not to them, because they're obviously in the film and they're not aware of it, even though they are real people. But this is fictionalised. This didn't actually happen to Stanislavski and Jelirovsky. There's a brief cameo by Chekhov, obviously an actor playing Chekhov, and he's talking about his new comedy called The Cherry Orchard. There is a kind of Lestrade character as the local police officer who's far too pleased with himself and always tells them not to touch anything in crime scenes as crime scenes increase. But obviously our heroic pair are generally kind of ahead of him, and they come across the Countess, who is this beautiful woman amongst all this squalor, and again she's the petty thief. I can't remember her proper name in the Sherlock Holmes stories, but she's just known as the Countess here. There's a wonderful character called Satan who kind of runs the underworld, who they have to talk to, and of course there's blow darting cannibals and thieves. I mean, the production design's absolutely beautiful. You really do get a sense of 1902. I mean, the fact that the film is shot so beautifully, you could argue maybe it would be better if it was kind of more gritty and but it's just so gorgeous to look at that you kind of forgive that. Again, you do get the booklet which I showed, and this is just the standard case. I mean, again, it's not perhaps as deep as some other Deaf Crocodile releases. It's just a wonderfully crafted, wonderfully acted little yarn, and again it has a wonderful MacGuffin. If you're familiar with the story of the Sign of Four, but it's also, as with the Conan Doyle story, it does have an undercurrent of colonialism and racism and the idea of imperialism and taking treasures from other countries that you've conquered and bringing them back, but at what cost. It's again sorry, I'll have to remind him how to say his name again. Shaknarazov, very much in Zerograd and Assassin of the Tsar. He's mixing real historical events with made up events. The relationship between Stanislavski and Jelirovsky is just wonderful. They do make a wonderful pair. There's a little bit of gore, but otherwise it's wonderful fun for all the family, and I would highly recommend it. It will put a smile on your face. It's 129 minutes, but it absolutely flies by. As with all Deaf Crocodile releases, it is Region A, but the disc is absolutely stacked with extras. There's a new interview with Karen Shaganazov about the making of In the Moscow Slums with Dennis Bartok of Deaf Crocodile. That's 45 minutes long. There's a new interview about the history and legacy of Mosfilm with the head of PR, Gayen Ambatrasamunian, moderated by Dennis Bartok again, and that's 67 minutes, and that's really fascinating about the history of Mosfilm, which has obviously had a rich and wonderful history. There's two fantastic visual essays, from Sherlock Holmes to method acting, strolling through Kadovka, a new visual essay by film historian Evan Chester, which is 18 minutes long, and the other visual essay by Dr. Will Dodson is No Stranger Than Human Nature, Theatre, History and Mystery, which again is an excellent visual essay as well, and obviously you get the booklet. So it's an absolutely packed disc, a wonderful Saturday afternoon or Sunday afternoon film. Again, you don't have to think too much, it's just a wonderful caper with political underpinnings, but it's an absolute joy, and another wonderful Deaf Crocodile release, even although it's from 2023, but I have to admit it's rather fantastic, and it's got a great ending too. So thanks very much for watching this random review of In the Moscow Slums. Please let me know if you've seen the film and what you think of it. Man vs. Film's also done a review of it over on his channel, so you can go over there and check that out. It's just another wonderful Deaf Crocodile release. Again, I'm not paid by Deaf Crocodile, more's the pity, but it's a wonderful Deaf Crocodile release, and another wonderful film that's modern, but of course it is set in 1902, so that'll probably be why. So thanks so much for watching. This is Solitary Ronin from Solitary Ronin Films, saying farewell.